September 20th, the announcement out of the Federal Reserve and what this means for you. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. I know in this video, I do want to focus on September 20th and the big announcement coming out of the Federal Reserve, as well as what this means for you, your money, your bank account, and of course, everything else going on right now, as we will be getting this announcement and we can anticipate there will be some changes. Let's get into it and talk about what's going on, their meeting that is taking place, and the likely announcement coming out of them. First off, before we do, thanks so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe right down below the video. It's totally free to do so, and I'm here for you right by your side every single day to help you out in any way that I possibly can, as well as keeping you informed of all of these changes as things are happening very fast. We're getting new bills, packages, proposals, announcements, legislation, and all kinds of stuff coming out on a regular basis, including this announcement out of the Federal Reserve that I do want to bring to your attention. Also, as long as you're right down below the video hitting that subscribe button, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to like the video and of course share this one with your friends, family, and social media so we can continue to reach and help out as many people as we can right now during this very busy and confusing time. Alright, thanks so much. Please subscribe down below and let's get into it and talk about September 20th, the announcement out of the Federal Reserve, what can we anticipate coming out of them, and why this is such a big deal. All right, so here's what it comes down to. The Federal Reserve every 6 weeks has a 2-day meeting. They call it FOMC meeting. Free Open Market Committee meeting is what that stands for. So they have this meeting and they come together, all of these economists, and then they come out with their announcement at 2 p.m. East Coast time on Wednesday, which is the 20th, and they'll be coming out with this announcement. And then shortly thereafter, about 30 minutes later, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, will be coming out with a press conference with, reporters and all kinds of stuff like this, people asking them questions. And then he answers and tiptoes around all the questions very, very carefully because he knows whatever he says will have impacts as far as the economy, the markets, all kinds of stuff like this, and cause a lot of volatility. So as a result of that, we want to focus on what is this announcement coming out of their meeting? Well, it all comes down to the interest rate policy. Now, here's the thing. Remember last year, 2022, starting in March through the end of 2022, they aggressively raised interest rates with an effort to bring down some of this inflation. Last year, inflation was incredibly high, right? Well over 8% for the vast majority of the year. And starting out this year, it was still very, very high. And they continued to raise interest rates up until their June meeting when they paused. Remember that? So now we're wondering, what are they going to do here? Are they going to raise again? Are they maybe going to cut? What's going on here, right? We want to continue to know what is happening with the Federal Reserve and what are they going to be doing with interest rates. Now, you might be wondering, what do we care? Why could we care about interest rates? What does this have to do with me? Well, it actually has a big deal to do with all of us because here's the thing. Are any of us borrowing money anywhere from anybody? Like a personal loan, an auto loan, student loans, a mortgage, credit cards, a home equity line of credit. I mean, literally, the list goes on and on. You can get debt anywhere, right? We can borrow money from virtually anywhere, right? We can float it on a credit card. We can borrow money from our home. We can borrow money from a personal loan. We can do all kinds of stuff, right? If we want to get debt, we can probably get it pretty quickly and pretty easily. And again, a lot of times we pay for that, right? Sometimes we go to these places where we get a short-term personal loan and they charge us like 25% interest, right? Things like this, okay? Why do we want to know about this? Especially if we have anything that is tied to variable interest rates, right? Things like credit cards, right? That is a variable interest rate. Home equity lines of credit, variable interest rates. Now, mortgages can be variable interest rates, like an adjustable rate mortgage, something like that. However, if it comes down to a fixed rate, things like a fixed rate mortgage or fixed interest rates on an auto loan or student loans and stuff like that. Now, obviously, if it's a fixed rate, we don't have to worry about that all that much, especially if it's already locked in. But if you're shopping for something right now and you are going to be borrowing money, guess what happens? As the Federal Reserve continues to raise interest rates, guess what happens? It costs us more because that also directly relates to interest rates going up on other things like all of the things that we want to borrow money for, like a car or a house or credit cards or personal loans. Literally doesn't matter. All interest rates are tied to this. So As a result of that, as the Federal Reserve continues to come back and raise interest rates even more, if we are in the position of borrowing money or opening up new loans or anything like that, it's going to cost us more because now those interest rates have now moved up a little bit more, right? Now, there is one minor silver lining of all of this going on out of the Federal Reserve, and I can say this much. It's a very minor silver lining. There's not many people that fall into this category, but let me throw it out there really quickly. So there's one situation where if you are somebody who happens to have any money, which if you are, you're certainly, not one of the majority, okay? Because here's the thing. Most people do not have any money right now to save. But if you have a little bit of money saved aside, generally savings accounts, the interest rates on savings accounts and CDs and stuff like that generally increases as well as the Federal Reserve raises interest rates. So maybe you're getting like 3.5% on a savings account. Maybe you're getting 4.5%, maybe 5% on a CD, certificate of deposit, right? So that is one silver lining, but there's not many people in that position. But I just want to throw that out there really quickly. Now, let me quickly talk about why. Why is the Federal Reserve raising interest rates? The whole idea behind this, here's the logic behind this. Let me explain this really quickly. So what happens is when there's too much inflation, it simply means that there's too much money floating around the economy chasing too limited of goods and services, okay? That's basically the definition of inflation. Basically, we have too much money floating around chasing limited goods and services. Therefore, it pushes prices up because we just bid prices higher, right? It's like an auction, right? We bid prices higher because there's more availability of cash, more availability of capital, therefore prices must go up, right? So that's what it comes down to. However, so what the Federal Reserve is doing is raising interest rates. So basically what they're doing is they're essentially telling all of us and businesses, individuals, essentially everybody, hey everybody, stop borrowing money because we're raising interest rates. They're making the appetite of borrowing money less and less and less. The higher that interest rates go, the less appetite there is for people to borrow money because now we look at interest rates and think, wow, that's expensive. A couple years ago, we could get loans for 2.5%. 3%, maybe. That was very cheap money then. But now with interest rates being 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, 8+%, we look at that and think, wow, that is very expensive. Why would I borrow money now? I'm going to hold off for a while. Therefore, I'm not going to borrow money. And if you don't borrow money, you're probably not spending money either, right? So that's what they do is they raise interest rates to basically lower the appetite for borrowing money. When people are not borrowing money, they're not spending money. When we're not spending money, it means that less money chasing goods and services, therefore less, price appreciation or inflation, in other words, if that kind of makes sense, right? So the whole idea behind this is disincentivize people to borrow money and incentivize people to save money by interest rates going up on savings accounts, interest rates, and CDs, certificates of deposit, stuff like that. So that's the logic behind it, is basically make it more expensive, make it more painful for people to borrow money, and then less people will do it. Make it more fun to save money because you'll get a couple pennies of interest each and every month from your bank when you save some money. So that's the whole logic behind it, okay? So again, when they want to stimulate the economy, what do? They drastically lower interest rates, and then a bunch of people say, wow, money is cheap these days again. Awesome. Interest rates are going down. It's cheap to borrow money. Let's go buy a bunch of stuff, right? So that's what they do. Same thing with businesses. Businesses think the same way, where they look at it and think, wow, interest rates are going down. Time to expand. Let's borrow a couple $1 million and let's go buy a bunch of stuff we don't need, right? Or expand the workshop or expand the business. Let's buy a bunch of vehicles, buy a bunch of supplies, stuff like that. So that's what it comes down to. That is the logic behind them raising and or lowering interest rates. And when they pause, they're literally just holding. But the consensus right now, really quickly, I'm going to wrap this video up here in just a second. The consensus right now is that they are not going to be cutting interest rates anywhere near this year in 2023. So that is a consensus. Now, obviously, we're getting pretty close to the end of the year now. Only a few months left, but only a few more meetings left after this one as well. So here's the thing. They've already basically made it very clear that they will not be cutting interest rates. So the idea would be, are they going to raise? Or are they going to pause? Whatever it happens to be. So either way, I'll continue to keep you posted, but this is a big announcement coming out on the 20th, and as I get more information and the announcement on that day, of course, I'll bring it to your attention. This is important stuff, even though we might look at it and think, this doesn't impact me. Oh, it doesn't impact all of us, because as they continue to keep interest rates very high, it's going to impact the economy in a pretty big way as well, because less money out there being spent means the economy, therefore, would be contracting because a lot less people buying, goods and services, buying supplies, expanding their businesses, all kinds of stuff like this. It's all going to be felt across the entire economy. Make sense? Anyway, hope this one helps you. Again, please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day. I'll keep you posted as we get more information on anything going on right now. I'm here for you. That's my dedication. That's my promise. And as always, I'm sticking to it. Enjoy your day. Have a good one. Take care. Catch you again later.